वेलकम टू बेटनिंग साथ में मिलकर शुरू करते हैं जिंदगी की दूसरी इनिंग सो विद अस टुडे वी हैव विजय and we all know Vijay. We have done couple of podcasts in the past as well. And Vijay is from Bitscrunch. Bitscrunch has made one of its kind of a record. I mean, record in terms of token sales that happened in what close to 24 minutes, Vijay?
Yes.
24 minutes. One of the fastest token sale that we have seen in the recent past, and the major reason for his success has been, his partnership with Coinbase, Mastercard, and winning competitions and winning awards from PwC. And then a lot of institutions have been showing a lot of interest, in Bitscrunch, primarily because of only one reason that I've been talking since beginning and why I am fan of this project and why I respect Vijay as an entrepreneur. Vijay has a rich background in data analytics. He has been a go-to man for data. Nobody does a better analysis and a better data crunching than Vijay. Vijay has a rich background while working for a major automobile company in Germany. And other than that, what I've seen that Vijay is trying to solve a very particular problem, and the problem is that if NFTs are here to stay, if institutions are supposed to get into NFTs, they want to do it in a very secure way. They don't want to buy an NFT that has been a wash traded NFT. Even the retail who want to enter into NFTs don't want to buy an NFT that has been pumped and dumped, in the past, or that has been a wash traded in the past. So he's trying to make this space clean for both institutions and both retail. You know, whenever you buy a property, in real life, when you want to buy a land or when you want to buy a flat, you always ask your property dealer that is the title of the land clear? Is the title of the property is clear or not? Then your property dealer tells you that the land has no dispute. The title is all clear. Then only you buy that property. So just imagine the same psychology if you're trying to apply in NFTs. You want to buy a digital asset which has a clean history, which has a clear title. This is very important, by the way. And this is going to be the most important aspect in NFTs and for that matter in digital assets also. People won't be buying a digital asset from an address which is OFAC non-compliant in future. Remember that. If some wallet has been flagged by OFAC, you will not be receiving, a token from an OFAC non-compliant address. So this is going to be the future, I'm telling you. And Vijay is just trying to solve that problem. Vijay, I hope I was able to justify the introduction, and I tried to give an example which I think suits best in your case. And welcome to the show. Welcome, Pranav. I'm sure you must be having a lot of questions. And thank you, Vijay, for supporting us as well in the Indian Blockchain Week, where you have been supporting us. You've been supporting us in covering the event, and I think that was a great show that happened there. So welcome, Pranav and Vijay. Over to you, Pranav.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank. First of all, as Kashif was, I would like to thank Vijay and his team for supporting us in IBW and making it happen. There is, of course, a lot of expenses around cameras and travels and everything that, that need to be inculcated. Information is free, but the means to get the information are not free. So I would like to thank the Bitscrunch sponsoring this particular event
Hmm.
for us, and making it a big move. And you did a big splash with us in IBW, but you made a bigger splash. Just a day ago with Bitscrunch launching on CoinList and selling so fast. So we will be discussing in depth about the current scenarios of Bitscrunch. Since we had our interview, what has happened? There have been so many developments and the future path. Given that now you have the token, what is the utility? What's the governance? What are the future plans of Bitscrunch team? We'll be discussing that. So taking so the first question directly to you, Vijay, is what has been the journey up till now, and how grateful you are with the amazing response you've got from the coin list.
So thanks a lot. Thanks Kashif Pai. Thanks Pranav for having me for I believe third time on your show
Yeah,
with
yeah.
me. So it's like a hat trick.
Yeah.
I mean, hat trick is
Yeah,
always
it's a hat
special for
trick.
a bowler, and
Yeah.
it's the same for a
Mm,
founder as well. Bitting is obviously one of the top-rated channels in India in the APAC zone. So glad to be here and glad to know that the IBWO was a super hit and you managed to host a lot of wonderful guests.
yeah.
So starting with the first question, how has been the journey so far? I am out of words.
Mm,
Grateful for the community. I mean, Web3 is all about community, and we selling our tokens in on CoinList within 24 minutes. That was one of the fastest ever sale on CoinList. I'm more than grateful. I mean, I
yeah.
I don't have words to thank the community enough because the previous best was 29 minutes. That was Flow blockchain and it was a couple of years ago and raising close to $4 million in 24 minutes is truly something that we haven't dreamt of. I mean, we dreamt of CoinList, of course, Kashif Pai, and you know the fact
Mm,
that I, as a founder, we always wanted to get listed on one of the top launchpads or exchanges right from day one. If you recollect the conversation that we had earlier
yeah, yeah.
in the
Absolutely.
podcast, we wanted to do it, and
Mm,
here we are done have been there done that category but again like every time I say this is just a start. So again we do something, we go back to the drawing board, erase everything and start from day zero. So CoinList is done, we cannot fret about it for a year or two. It's done, and next is obviously listing. Next is mainnet, which is going to come in early next year, January February, and then we will focus on on-chain revenue. So I was talking to Pranav. Pranav is with GRT, which is one of our inspirations as well. So we would love to take inspirations from such a protocol and improvise on the NFT side because that's the space that we are looking at right now. We will expand beyond NFTs, but adding AI element on top is a differentiator. Let's say we add AI, that is where we detect wash trades, malicious activities, and rightly pointed out OFAC wallets. So that is also something that we
mm,
take, and we provide value to brands, value to businesses. So today we have customers like DappRadar, customers like Unstoppable Domains, and so on. And we are also in touch with some of the Web2 brands like Mastercard, EY, Ernst& Young. We were a graduate of their Web3 program recently here in Germany. And we also got a couple of awards, one from PwC Germany, the Best Impact Startup Award in Germany, and Best Blockchain Company from India in Accenture, from Accenture. So a lot has changed since we talked last time, and I hope this will be the repeat when we talk again next time in 2024 or even 2025. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Of course,
absolutely.
the data, like getting the real-time data on chain, off chain, and doing it the right way, giving people the right kind of information is one of the most important thing in assets which have values associated to it. For example, I can just fork a particular NFT which is doing well, create my own thing, try to do a round robin of selling. Basically, sell to Kashif. Kashif sells to Ankit, Ankit sells to Ankur, Ankur sells to Vijay, Vijay sells it back to me. So my NFT goes from $0.01 to $1, and then we keep doing this round robin till we have $100. There is some volume. OpenSea just spots it, and people are like, whoa, this is the next big thing, this is the next, like, board ape yacht club, and I want to just ape in. And that's where the whole of the problem is created, because then my malicious intents cannot be checked, and I can just go away and just dump the whole NFT market on the retail, right? This is actually in Web3 called rug pulling, and it is very very common in ERC20 tokens, and it was getting increasingly very popular in NFT ecosystem as well. Well, there is no story and nothing behind the NFT community, just people without data buying certain hype and just selling it without knowing what has happened in the past. So getting on chain data in a right format, and in a more ready format, is very very important. In Web2
Yeah.
world, when we are trying to buy an asset, for example, if I'm trying to buy a land, I will I'll first of all see everything associated to it. For example, all the nagar nigam things have been passed, everything is correct, everything is jotted out. The owner of this particular thing is correct, he has not bought it from an agriculture person and not converted, and things like that. If I'm trying to buy a share, then also I'll be going to the financials of that company, understanding the whole thing, and making sure it's not ponzi or anything. But in the Web3 world, given that it's very fast tracking, there are a lot of people who FOMO and don't read the data. And the one reason why behind the reason why people don't read these things is they want to just make money quick. That cannot change. But the people who want to really get into the weeds before investing into a particular asset should get data in the right format. It should not be that somebody wants that kind of information and he is not able to get that. And that's where I think Bitscrunch plays a really really important role by giving the person's NFT data, giving that person the NFT data he wants in the purest and the rightest format, so that he can be assured whatever he is looking forward to is not being round robined or circle traded or washed, for example, just to create volumes, just to create hypes by certain groups which have been infamous to doing that in crypto world. So
Hmm.
definitely a great use case, but that has already been done by the Bitscrunch team. The question that now comes in is that you have this token coming live very very soon. What will be the use case of this token on the current platform which is used to get NFT data and NFT information?
Mm. So good.
And I can ask you this question:
Mm,
was token necessary? Because people ask this question. People now are very aware of tokens and tokenization of projects. So
mm,
people can ask you this question, that why token was necessary to accomplish the goal that you want to achieve, because this could have been done without token as well, right?
mm,
Because so why token, and why it was necessary, and what is going to be the use case of it? How do you look at implementing that token in your ecosystem?
mm. So to answer your question, so we wanted to build this decentralized right from day one. So the access of data, so getting data, processing the data, crunching the data, that's already a problem that we discussed. Pranav knows the fact, being at GRT, right? The Graph Protocol, one of the inspirations for us, and it is definitely a challenging task, right? And I would like to take few references here. They are our inspirations. Some of the good data analytics plus forensics engines or protocols around the world. I mean, not protocols, but entities around the world. If you look at the forensic side, it is chain analysis. In the previous market, they were valued at 8 billion valuation. Elliptic is one, again a unicorn. On the analytics side, there is Dune Analytics, there is Nansen, right? And there are plenty of others, NFT Go, and so on. But if you
How
look at the
many how
command,
many how many of these have tokens, if I can ask you this question?
yes,
Hmm.
nobody else has tokens. That is
Hmm.
what I am coming to. So getting access to data has been a challenge. So imagine if, let's say, Kashif runs a business, or even Kashif is getting rugged in the space, or if
Hmm.
you own Pepsi, or if you own Adidas, and
Hmm.
you are getting rugged in the space. How do you
Hmm.
contact these centralized entities? So what
Call
happens is you
center.
go, fill a form, call
Mm,
the customer service, talk to the BD, talk to the team. They will set up the API keys, they will set up the dashboard access, and I'm
mm,
sure it will cost you a lot of bucks. With the research that I know, chain analysis data is not cheap, so they charge roughly around $25,000 a year. So
from
I'm not
corporations.
yes, from businesses.
Mm,
So $25,000 a year, annual costs for use getting chain analysis data.
mm,
And imagine that's the name that we all look up to. Whenever some rug pull happens, whenever some
mm,
malicious activities happens, they are the first ones to announce, okay, this is the Ronin exploit, this is the Bored Ape exploit, and whatever, whatnot. So for a business that needs to pay $25,000 an annum, which is the base price, I suppose, uh, is already very expensive for a lot of businesses in the market. I mean, Pepsi can easily buy that. I mean, for them, it's peanuts. But imagine a growing entity, a growing Web3 entity. Like imagine like Bitscrunch. Even if we want to get access to those data,
mm,
we would have to pay. Okay, even if let's say we get a discount, $10,000 an annum, it's still expensive for an infrastructure. So that has been the problem. And to provide access in a simplest way possible, that has been always the goal. And that is why we came up with the token, not today or yesterday, just because we have grown the community, but we go by the principles that are sort of good principles, even told by A16Z. I'm a big fan of A16Z. It's unfortunate that we don't have them as an investor, but they have
mm,
always given a clarity on how and when to go for tokens. And sort of, I would say we have almost stick to their principles. So build a product, find a customer. We have customers. Build a community. And then once you are ready, once you are close to the decentralization phase, that is when you have to think about tokens.
mm,
And just to tell you something, we have been running our testnet for the last 6 7 months. 60 plus node operators are operating our nodes. Node operators like the top ones, Luga nodes, 0x Fury, Impossible Finance, chain nodes that run nodes for Chainlink, Aptos, Sui, Graph Protocol. We have friends from Graph Protocol who runs our nodes. So with the combined volume of 5 billion TVL, these node operators will share the load of data. So today we might pay for Google's or Amazon's of the world. But tomorrow when we decentralize, when we slowly decentralize, these node operators will bear the load. So they will share the load of data costs, data center costs, infrastructure costs, and that is how it will slowly start decentralization. And if I'm not wrong, Polygon, even after what 5 years, 4 5 years into the journey, they have roughly 100 node operators. And I'm
yeah.
really glad that even in this 2 years of journey, we have 60 node operators already running nodes across various geographies. And we already work with some of the brands like MasterCard, EY, Accenture, and KPMG, right? So as Pranav mentioned, data is the new oil. Blockchain is one of the hottest ecosystems, and AI. I mean, everybody literally talks about AI, ChatGPT. Thanks to Sam Altman and boys. Last time when we were talking about AI models and ML models, Sam was not in picture, but now Sam is in picture. He has changed the AI story completely. And if you go back to our first conversation that was shot a year ago, I was talking about AI. So we
Yeah.
use AI right from the beginning, not because somebody uses it or somebody builds ChatGPT or other applications. All these years, data has been our prowess, data has been our special capability, and we wanted to bring clarity to users, clarity to brands. Let's look at some of the brands in the NFT space. Adidas has a collection, Gucci, Nike, Coca-Cola, Louis Vuitton, Dolce and Gabbana, McDonald's, Budweiser. I have a long list here.
Yeah.
RTKFT,
Yeah.
Tiffany and Co, Time Magazine, NBA, Coca-Cola, Lacoste. So all these brands coming into NFTs, it's not a child's play. I'm sure they have a team that thoroughly researches into what is a digital asset, and I'm pretty sure this space is not fading away. And with RWA, real world assets booming, I believe NFTs have a strong correlation. And that's why we are here to clean up the space. We are here to bring better data sources just within few clicks. Imagine if you are
Okay.
from US, from Canada, from Africa, from India, with just few clicks by connecting a wallet, you get the access to the data. You get the API keys.
Hmm.
That's it.
Right. Don't you think that while being centralized entity, you would have minted more money? Why? I mean, Chainlink and all these companies are doing well. You would have minted more money. You would have kept more money in your pocket.
Mhm.
Why? Why decentralization? Why you want to keep it, make it decentralized? Because
Mhm.
from your idea, I feel it's a noble cause. You feel that it's a noble thing to
Mhm.
be decentralized. But at the end of the day, you could have made more money by being
Mhm.
centralized because anyways ways your product seems to be working.
Mhm. That's totally true. I mean, if we would have gone for money or
Mm.
getting incentivized, for sure, we as founders would have been sitting at a $1 billion valuation or
Yeah,
more in the next bull run, which is obviously coming. And we are launching at what, $55 million on CoinList, right? 50, 60, and potentially we could do few multiples, which is still far lower than centralized entities.
yeah.
That's for sure. But how can a user get access to data? That has been the point number one. So if we are centralized, we will know what is coming in, who is making query, who is coming in with a query, whom we are serving. We can potentially restrict users. It's like X or the former Twitter banning users from their platform. We
Mm.
saw even the former president of the US, Donald Trump, was kicked out because it's a
Mm.
centralized system that I can decide, or we as a team, we can decide, okay, let's not give data to
Mm.
people from whatever countries, people from US, people from Canada. We could do that. We could potentially dictate terms, and nobody is going to know that. Are we providing data to the government? Are we providing data to the institutions? Nobody is going to know that. So how do you simplify the access of data? That has been the worry, right?
Mm.
And if we become a centralized entity, that's going to be one more entity on top of all the other centralized entities. Nothing is going to be different,
Mm.
right? And that is when we wanted to be decentralized. And glad that so far so good, it has been going well so far. We have been receiving very good attention. I mean, I wouldn't say 24 minutes, I wouldn't count everything on Bitscrunch. It's obviously because of the market going up, a lot of ETF speculation. CoinList, they have one of the biggest communities in the space, and obviously
Mm.
our community. So I would go in this order and not rate we are the best. Nope. Yes, there were
Mm.
conditions that supported us by crushing it in 24 minutes, but still,
Mm.
it's the macroeconomics that helped us.
Before giving the mic to Pranav, I have a very important question. What is the TAM that you are looking at? How big is the industry of data analytics in Web3? And and what is the current state of current TAM of the industry right now? And
Mhm.
what is going to be the future TAM of
Mhm.
the industry that you're catering in 2 years down the line?
Yes. So just to give you a glimpse of
These are
what.
like these are very tricky questions, and I'm very
uh,
interested.
no, I mean, we do all the researches, we do all the paperwork and study uh, in parallel every now and then. So we have to keep
Hmm.
ourselves updated. We have to see the evolution, change the market. And just to draw some parallels to the Web2 market, look at
Yeah.
the top 10 companies of the Fortune 500 companies in the world. Meta, former
Hmm.
Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, Salesforce or whatnot, SAP.
Hmm.
Most of them heavily rely on data. And
Hmm.
for them, it took a decade, 2 decades, or even 3 decades to be in such a position. Everybody sort of realized that
Hmm.
data has been powerful. Apple might look like a company that sells phones, hardware devices, MacBooks or iPhone. But if you look at their cost breakdown, they earn a lot with data.
Through data.
Through data, yes. Through data, they earn a lot, right? Just to make Google as a default browser,
Hmm.
which is again a data thing. They Google pay a lot in several $1 million or $1 million to Apple on an annual basis. Why would Google want to be the default browser on Apple, right? So they do that. So if you look at the top 10 companies in the world right now, they're all data focused. And in the long term, I would say again in 20 years or 30 years, when most of the brands or most of the things that we do becomes decentralized, that is when these data providers, data companies, if they stand long, if they can make it there, we could be the ones who will be sitting on top. I bet these names remind, make a note: Draft Protocol, Chain Analysis, Elliptic, Dune Analytics, Nansen, Covalent, Bitscrunch. I'll take our name as the seventh one because we are like a puppet, baby, growing, watching others grow, inspired
Hmm.
by others grow. These seven names, I bet if we are surviving, if we have the cash flow to run a decade from now, we may not take 30 years to be there, but sooner or later, in the next decade, you will see one of these companies, at least one of these
Will be
companies, will
will
be
be
on
among
top.
top 10. So I'll
Yes,
give you
if
I'll give an analogy here. I got your point. What you're saying that all these tech companies are actually dealing in data. And data companies, if you see the top 10 market cap, so I mean, if Apple is 3 trillion, Google is close to 2.5 trillion, Microsoft is 2 trillion. So all these IT companies, if you combine them together, are close to 10 to 15 trillion. So
Mhm.
you are in a nutshell, you are saying that if these companies are catering to data, these are data companies, though they have a product. Most of the people think that Apple makes a product, but at the end of the day, these are data companies. And data, if data could be 10 trillion, then chain analysis, Nansen, Bitscrunch, all
even
these
if
are
10%,
catering to a.
10%
Even
of the
if
time,
10%,
one
10%
trillion.
means 1 trillion. And I completely agree because most of the people think, I'll give another analogy. Most people think that Indigo is in the business of airlines. Most people think. But the
Yes,
reality is Indigo makes more profit from selling sandwiches than selling air tickets. So
exactly.
Indigo is in the business of food, not airlines. So exactly what Vijay is trying to make you understand that they are not selling you product or phones, they are selling data. So this is a
Exactly.
very important analogy. Yeah, Pranav.
Yep.
I think this
Thanks.
is a very important conversation. This should go on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
So, going into the depths of the decentralization aspect of making people run Bitscrunch nodes, which are in a way indexers that will be indexing and giving you the NFT data. We need to go into the depths, right? It's never like at Web3 ki dunya, it's never like you say decentralization and something comes and everything becomes decentralized. It has to live by its name of decentralization, and for that I'll just pull up this chart that it would be great if we can discuss in this show that you have just pulled in which this is your decentralization roadmap, as in when you decentralize there'll be indexers or what you call as bits crunch node operators that will be indexing all the data from all these blockchains, right? That will go and then it will come on a full node, and then there'll be a light node that will eventually lead to a consumer to consume that data, which is wash trading data, NFT, deep aesthetics, and deep dive into the trading aspects of it. And then in the future maybe tokens and stuff like that we can talk in depth. But yeah, starting, how will the data market of Bitscrunch look like in a decentralized realm of things? First of all, that, and secondly, who are the participants that will be involved in this decentralized data market? You are on mute.
So I'll start with our journey going from centralized way to decentralized. So we started as a decentralized entity, like every other entity that starts in this space, by taking support from the Googles of the world and Amazons of the world. And right now, today, we have a couple of really big blue chip customers. To name a couple, DappRadar, again at data platform. DappRadar is known for telling what is happening in each and every dApps on Ethereum, dApps on Polygon, and whatnot. They are one of our biggest customers, DappRadar and Bitscrunch. If you, yeah, you can go there, DappRadar, and I can show you where exactly they use our data. So if you go to NFTs, scroll up, yeah, NFTs, and then if you pick any collection, let's say, yeah, mutant tape or whatever, go there. And if you scroll below, and the calculator symbol below each NFTs, these data, yes, exactly. The estimated price of NFTs are provided by Bitscrunch, and we have a blog on it. And right now, we provide this estimated price. So there you see the floor price right below, right to the right of NFT image, floor price and estimated price exactly. So that is exactly what we provide. Before getting the data from Bitscrunch, DappRadar was serving 100 collections on each chains. What that means is they have 100 top 100 collections on each, Polygon, Avalanche, Binance, whatever. And we are now providing data of 30,000 collections to DappRadar. Now what happens is they have more pages to show. They have better SEO. They have better conversion rate. They have better provision to serve their customers. And to throw you another stat, DappRadar is currently making somewhere between 4 to 5 million API calls on Bitscrunch network. Just one customer.
Can can you repeat that? How
Yes.
much?
So DappRadar is currently making 4 to 5 million API calls on a monthly basis from Bitscrunch.
API calls.
Because
Can you just elaborate a bit on that? Make to
so
make it easy.
whatever, yeah, whatever you see it on the front end, right? I mean, this mutant
Hmm.
ape number 19747, it's one of the NFTs on Ethereum blockchain
Hmm.
that belongs to a mutant ape club collection. So
Hmm.
for this to happen, it has to go take from the API and show it to the front end for the end user.
Okay.
APIs are
Okay.
like the like the passage where the data flows. I mean, in layman terms, if there is a black box like a software, API is a point where it hits and pulls the data.
Yeah. So basically, like for getting the data, you need to give a URL, basically, right? And from that URL, the information is shown. So
Yep.
DappRadar is doing like 5 million, right? Coming back to the
Yes.
network, how does
Yes.
right now up till now, Bitscrunch is the
Exactly.
indexer serving
Yes.
DappRadar the information. And if
Exactly.
you guys go down, then nobody gets this information, which is very
Yes.
crucial and important.
Exactly.
How is the network gonna change things? And will DappRadar get information from different people? How will things be after the network is launched?
Mm.
The
So
details
we
on that.
have two phases of decentralization. The first phase is the light node that you see on the right end before a consumer. So light node is where the decentralization of APIs happen. So when you clicked a particular board ape or mutant ape now, it showed a URL with our data. And this light node is decentralized now. So up until mid or towards the end of this year, we were heavily centralized. By that I mean we used Google's or Amazon's. I don't want to name which, but we heavily relied on centralized entities, right? And tomorrow, like you said, if Bitscrunch goes down, or if our servers go out, or if we are bankrupt, that is when DappRadar doesn't get this data. We don't provide this data to anybody. So it is not just about DappRadar. We have 52 startups in our startup program that gets our data. So we made a program in this bear cycle. Since we are funded, we have raised more than $6 million. We wanted to serve this data and increase the adoption. So rather than looking for revenue in the bear cycle, we wanted to, anyways, we are going to decentralize things. So we have that in mind. So why to get 200, $300 from a company that is already sinking? So we provided data, and today 52 startups are making API calls. Some make hundreds, some make thousands, some make 5 digit in thousands, right? So that is what we are doing. And coming to the indexer part, as you mentioned, today we at Bitscrunch, we are a team of 10, 20 people indexing the chains. Today we index 4 chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Binance. And we are almost there with Solana. But tomorrow, the indexers, the data load will be shared to 60 node operators. So if somebody makes the API call, the load will be shared by 60 node operators. So it will not be a backend of Google or an Amazon where the data will be distributed across the ledger, across the geographies. So that's the beauty of blockchain, right? Decentralized ledgers, so that everybody pays what $3,000, $4,000 for operating nodes because they are incentivized by operating nodes. They could be the stakers, there could be delegators again staking on respective node operators. So rather than we setting as a centralized entity, it is now the node operators, and that is one piece. I'll elaborate on the other four as we speak. So we have different
I
participants in
think
the
it's
network.
very important point. Why actually now I can make sense to it is once you are a centralized entity, again, data can be manipulated, number one, right? Centralized entity, you cannot rely on the data that is being provided by a centralized entity because that data could be manipulated. Number one, that data could be hacked. That data could vanish forever if the company goes bust or bankrupt, right? But in your case, the future of data analytics, the data that we are seeing today, will be free from Bitscrunch. It won't be a one entity, one man show because
Exactly.
the data will be distributed to all the nodes. And that's the beauty of decentralization, that it won't be dependent on Bitscrunch, and the data that people are fetching is open and transparent. There is no manipulation. You're getting whatever
Ex-
it is, right?
exactly. I mean, people or
Hmm.
entities are changing the election results of certain countries, you know what I mean, right? Using the power of data, and that is well and truly possible with centralized entities. And
Huh.
nobody knows which data we took, which data we
Hmm.
left out. So if there is a data that we want to leave out, we can easily leave that out. We can show the data.
Uh,
Data
can you close
is
the
highly
window, Pranav?
manipulative.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, please
Dat-
carry on.
Data is highly manipulative, right? I mean, if we say a stat, it can be looked from different perspectives.
Hmm.
I can say there are 10 balls in the court, but somebody can say 90 balls are missing out of 100. Right?
Wow.
There is always a different perspective to data. Right? So that
You
is
give a
why,
very good. You give a very good analogy.
yeah, that is why we need to show what it is to the people, and then they can
Hmm.
bring their own narratives. They can say, is it 10 balls left in the pool, or is it 90 balls missing? That is up to them.
EPNS is excited to announce that we are now Push Protocol. We launched EPNS in 2020 with the backing of Web3's leading developers, investors, and builders. To date, we have powered the world's largest notification network on Ethereum. Now, EPNS is evolving beyond Ethereum and beyond push notifications. Introducing Push Protocol, the multi-chain communication stack for Web3. Push is building a suite of products to enable notifications, chat, ads, streaming, and more. The Push token is the critical piece of the Push Protocol, securing, governing, and incentivizing all ecosystem participants. Push Protocol is the missing piece of Web3. Found. Join us at push.org.
Uh, I want to ask you one question
Mm.
that you have not on in the past. You have not spoken that on any podcast. I mean,
Mm.
I want something from you because just got to know that you are working on a plan beyond NFTs,
Mm.
and there you are working on some serious area.
Mm.
And I got to know it from somebody. You need to tell me what are the future plans that you're building beyond NFTs.
Okay. So we are moving beyond NFTs. I mean, rightly guessed. We haven't let the thing out. We haven't let the whole plan
I
out.
know.
But glad you asked. We are already providing historical prices of token data on Ethereum. We just picked one chain. Want to
Uh,
expand to the DeFi space. So we are currently providing 200,000 token prices from their
hmm.
day one. Let's say
Oh.
anybody, if they want to get access to
Hmm.
GRT token on 2021 July
Wow.
17th, we can
This is
provide that
missing.
data.
This is missing, by the way. CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, you
Yes,
cannot have this information
yes,
readily available. Yeah.
exactly. And just to
Hmm.
pinpoint, glad that you took Coin Market Cap and CoinGecko here. They are the only
Hmm.
two players who are providing this historical
Hmm.
data, and they provide data up to 1 year. Let's say today is 18th December. they provide this for 18th December
Uh,
2022, and we provide it when it was inception, when it was formed, when it was minted. So that's something that we provided. We started providing now, and we are already getting a lot of positive responses, a lot of inquiries about
wow.
that, because this will be vital
Mm,
for gaming companies, for institutions, right? They need this data. I mean, why is Mastercard, why is EY, why is PwC all looking
mm,
us in close quarters? We are not a 10-year-old startup or 5-year-old company. We are a 2-year-old company, but what we provide actually makes sense for them, right? Otherwise, why? I mean,
so
if it
this
is one
was.
Mastercard, it people might say, that's a luck. They got into through some reference or whatever. Coinbase is an investor. They can probably get Mastercard, but it is EY,
Mm.
it is PwC,
Will,
it is KPMG.
I I want to ask you this question. Will this be a centralized platform?
It will be decentralized. Again, we are planning to decentralize this
Okay.
because the ethos has been clear right from day
Mm,
one. So the
mm,
goal is not to try to make money as founders or managing
mm.
directors of this
I
entity, but rather decentralize the data so that people are aware of what things are happening on chain. And then nobody can
mm,
say, right? Nobody can say, oh no, that their data is wrong. Okay, if it is wrong, the contributors, the indicators, they
mm.
will optimize the data. That's the point of having transparent data. If
I
our
tell
data
you,
is wrong, we
I
will
I
optimize it.
uh, I want to give you one example. These two websites are, by the way, are one of the most visited website in the world, and in Bull Run, they were among top 10. I mean, just imagine how many people go on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, and you know what? They just don't go. They engage with the website because once you go there, you want to check the tokens, you want to check the pricing. So there is the engagement level of these two websites is one of the highest. And imagine if somebody can build a decentralized version of CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap in future, and if you can get the prices from day one, and if you can share the APIs with the startups of the world,
Mhm.
imagine the powerhouse that website can be in future.
Yep, exactly.
So
That's
congratulations
the
for that.
whole idea. We have ambitious plans. We have a lot more
Hmm.
in store, which we will slowly let it out as we progress, right? I mean, I cannot say everything upfront and then rather
Pranav,
fund
I
something.
am not doing this show anymore. I'm sending my CV to him. Maybe he might hire me for some. So I am not doing this show anymore. I मेरा हो गया. You continue the Web3 की दुनिया. I am going to data दुनिया.
Glad to have you
Web,
always.
Web, Web3 ki dunya is incomplete without Kashif, and Web3 ki real dunya is incomplete without data. So, like,
Yeah,
both these
yeah,
are very
absolutely.
important. But my last
Hmm.
question is, you guys, like, this is great, and hopefully everything turns by. Decentralizing, data and having indexers and making everything happen is not just a tough choice, but a tough implementation. And working at the Graph protocol, I can tell you by a fact that, having people to make that happen and convincing them on those aspects is a battle to actually be won, because people
Hmm.
love to make money initially with the decentralized Web3 tokenization, but when they find out that there is a utility and there is a governance aspect to it, that's when, sometimes the protocol go rogue. And so I wish you all the luck. We'll keep checking every
Hmm.
year, every 6 months on the updates of the Bitscrunch team and how the community has progressed, given that your biggest update has been up till now, the token launch. And I wish you luck on that. My last question is that, in this particular month, right? Already, CoinList has got that token out. After this, what's the next step if somebody is looking forward to having that token for governance or for utility or for using that for their, project, given that people get a discount if they need information from your platform with using the token. That's the utility of the token. So what's the future, how can people get the token? What's the next step if somebody wants to have that token as a asset, or have that token as as just to have use that on the platform? What's the next step?
Yeah. So far, what we have done this month is a community sale. By that I mean, you will get the stats from Coinless soon. They are writing a detailed blog on what happened through the sale. I'm excited as a founding team for the blog. But next step in January, early January, you can expect the token listing, the token generation event, the TGE will happen. And that is when people like you and me, Kashif Bhai, or anybody watching this video, they can buy the tokens. And a lot of good exchanges are lined up. I cannot disclose them at this point in time, having those NDAs in place. But you can expect us to launch in really good exchanges. So that is coming up. And mainnet. So that means the token will have utility right from day one. So since we have taken some inspirations from teams like Graph, Covalent, and all these data protocols, we learned the hard way. We learned what worked, what didn't work out. So we wanted to get the utility right from day one, so the users can stake, can indicate. Let's say a small example is we have a role called indicator. So a team of 10 or 20 people, we will not determine which chains to index. There are community, there are people who can say, okay, base chain is getting prominent in NFT space, let's index base. So they will be the indicator, and we will pick up base, we will pick up optimism, we will pick up Zora. So that also brings the community together, and we are really looking forward to seeing it in action. Right, so far we have things in theoretical is different, practical is different, and we might have a rough runway along the road, but we are not worried about that, because one thing is clear: we are into this game for long term. When I say Google's, and when I looked up to the references of Meta and Twitter and Microsoft, I really mean I want to be there in the long run, right? And even if you look at the vesting and the cliff for the team, we are taking all the bullets before the retails and the investors. So our first tokens will be handed over to us on month number 9, and our vesting goes up to 48 months. And just to remind you, we have been building Bitscrunch for 2.5 years, and right from January 2024, we will have 48 months to get our tokens, which is January 2028. So that tells you
Hmm.
the answer already. So we are in this game long run. So please watch out for
Hmm.
whatever we do, and it's gonna be fun.
Sir, we have
It's gonna be
been
a
we have been
fun
watching
ride.
you out. That's why it's a hat trick. We have been watching you. That's why it's a hat trick. All
Thanks a lot.
metric is a trick.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I think this was one of the most fun-filled show. Out of all the three shows that we have done, I was able to ask good question. I think I was happy to ask questions on behalf of the audience because we are very happy to have you here because it's a very proud feeling also that being an Indian, you are building something for the world and people acknowledge the potential, the talent that we have from India. And Pranav is always keeps talking about the immense talent that we have as a country, and not just from North, not just from East. The entire nation has a immense talent. And glad that you are making us proud by building something at such scale. So thank you very much for that.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for having me here, Pranav and Kashif Bhai. Pleasure always talking to you both.